about the topic production possibility curve. So why do we need this production possibility curve? The community wants to produce the maximum at minimum cost, hence the decision has to be made on the basis of efficiency of factors of production technology to be adopted and the sectors which should be interested in the production of work. So the community had to choose what should be produced and how much should be produced between two items. Since we cannot increase the available resources, we have to make a decision that which commodity should be produced among two or more, because we have to make the best use of available resources and we have to produce the best commodities which the market requires. Professor Samuelson has introduced an ingenious device called production possibility curve, which tries to explain graphically the alternative production possibilities in an economy with limited resources. So what actually is this production possibility curve? Professor Samuelson has introduced a device called production possibility curve, which tries to explain graphically the alternative production possibilities in an economy with limited resources. So according to production possibility curve, economy has to decide which goods to be produced more and which goods should be produced less depending upon the situation and available resources. For instance, the economy should decide how much of its resources should be utilized in raising wheat on the farms and how many factories should produce arms and how many factories should produce consumer goods to civilians. So production possibility curve has four assumptions, which includes that only two goods can be produced at once, so that only two can be compared at once, and also full employment of the resources, and also fixed resources which are land, labor, capital and entrepreneurship, and also fixed technology. Let's take an example. We take into consideration only two commodities to be produced in the economy. Let's say butter and guns with the available resources. The resources are fixed in quantity, but they can be shifted from the production of one commodity to another commodity. The resources are being used fully with utmost efficiency here. This means that resources are not employed or underemployed. The economy is supposed to work at the level of full employment and achieving full production. The state of technology remains unchanged, that is, there is no progress or change in the technology. So with these four assumptions, we try to find out production possibilities at some particular point of time or a very short period in the economy. We construct a schedule setting out various possibilities of producing butter and guns with the available resources and technology. So in this table, according to possibility A, the economy can entirely devote the resources by producing 15,000 guns with no butter, or according to possibility F, it can use all the resources in the production of 5 million quintals of butter and no guns at all. So these are the two extreme possibilities which are unrealistic, as economy may be requiring both butter and guns. So this is the production possibility curve of guns and butter. So the other possibilities B, C, D, E indicate how, as it moves from B to E, more butter is produced at the cost of losing guns. Similarly, when it moves from E to B, more guns are produced at the cost of butter in economy. We can represent the data or schedule in the graph. In the x-axis, we take butter, and in the y-axis, we take the guns. With the data available in the tabular column, we locate the points A, B, C, D, E, F, and by joining these points, we obtain production possibility curve. This curve is also known as a transformation curve because while moving down the curve, we are in the effect of transferring guns into butter by appropriately shifting the resources from guns to butter. With the given resources being fully employed and utilized, the combination of two goods produced can lie anywhere on the production possibility curve AF, but not inside or outside it. In the course of time, when the resources of the economy are exploited and increased, it will lead to the economic growth. Production possibility curves indicate the eventual law of substitution in our life. Professor Samuelson, while explaining the concept of production possibility frontier, says a full employment economy must always produce one good by giving up something of another. Substitution is the law of life in a full employment economy. The production possibility frontier depicts society's menu of choice. Professor Simonson says that the basic fact of the life that there exists only a finite amount of human and non-human resources which the best technical knowledge is capable of using to produce only a limited maximum amount of each and every good, as shown by the production possibility frontier. So the above discussion of the production possibility curve leads to an important consideration of the principle of economics, that is law of increasing cost, which is also known as opportunity cost. From the production possibility tabular column and the production possibility curve, it is clear that as we move on the curve from A to F, we have to give up the guns. But if we look closer at the rate which we take butter by losing the manufacture of guns, we can find out that we take butter using guns heavily. At point A, we had 15,000 guns and no butter at all. At point B, in order to get quintals of butter, we have lost 1,000 guns. At point C, in order to get 1 million quintals of butter, we have lost 2,000 guns. In passing from C to D, we have lost 3,000 guns in order to get 1 million quintal of butter, and while passing from D to E, get 1 million quintal of butter, we have to pay a price of 4,000 guns. So, as we move from A to F, the opportunity cost of 1 million quintals of butter becomes 2,000 guns, then 3,000 guns and 4,000 guns, etc. As we move from E, the sacrifice in terms of Y commodity, which is guns, become larger and larger in order to get one more unit of X commodity, which is butter. The opportunity cost goes on increasing as we have more of butter and less of guns. The cost of butter goes on increasing from 1,000 guns to 4,000 guns. Evidently, the increase in cost in its operation, and this is the reason why production possibility curve is concave to the origin. But the main question arises here is why the opportunity cost of butter is increases as we produced more butter. This is the reason. The economic resources at our disposal are not quite adaptable to alternative uses. When we increase production of butter and decrease production of guns, the resources cannot be adjusted easily and quickly. Factories manufacturing guns cannot be pushed to become farms producing butter. As we move from A to F, we'll first transfer those resources which are capable of producing butter, and as we move still further, C, D, etc. Resources which are efficient in producing guns are made use of in producing butter. So there are four main economic resources available to us, which are land, labor, capital and entrepreneurship. Land includes land, forests, minerals to set up factories, etc. Labor includes human resources for the physical work, and capital includes tools, machinery and factories. And entrepreneurs includes people who takes risk by introducing new products and new ways of making old products. And the production possibility curve changes due to many reasons. The first one is if there is any technology improvement, and also if there is any increase in population. So the production possibility curve is used to resource allocation, resource reallocation, to know opportunity cost, to know the economic growth, to know the changes in productivity of a commodity, to know the change in efficiency of a commodity. So this is about the production possibility curve introduced by Professor Samuelson to us. So that's a production possibility curve by Professor Samuelson is. Thank you so much.